You're listening to The Blunt Truth. Unscripted, uncensored, unwoke. Get ready to challenge everything.
Welcome to episode 13 of The Blunt Truth. My favorite number. Topic is change. The only guarantee in life. Out of all the things you might experience, only one of them is guaranteed, and that's change. And just to kick things off, Dougie has a story about change.
Well, yeah, it's not like it's a story, but at the same time, I want to, you know what I mean? I want to talk about like maybe people in the audience don't know how to handle change. You know what I mean? And maybe this can help them out because change is inevitable, just like you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the story's just the hook. It's just the opener here.
Right. Well, my friend, she's in the process of moving because her grandmother is really old, so somebody needs to be with her and stuff. And she was all just telling me how she's being very overwhelmed, because now she has to pack up and move over to her grandmother's. And she's just like upset because now has to, fit in there because she was very comfortable where she was at. She had all of her plants. She's got her cat, she was comfortable. And she was telling me how she's overwhelmed. And I'm like, listen, it's all perspective. If you feel overwhelmed, you got to change your perspective because the change is going to happen regardless. So instead of thinking like that, instead of thinking like, oh, I have to get up and, do this all over, just think of it as the universe is pushing you into another journey to change you into a better person, to grow, because it's going to get you out of that routine that you've been in for the past 3 or 4 years. And I never thought of it like that. And I'm like, yeah, like change is going to happen, but it's all about how you accept or you don't accept the change. So if you don't accept the change, you're going to fight like hell to keep things the way they are, but it's going to change regardless. So it's all about accepting it and going with the flow instead of, because you fighting is make that change a really bad experience,
Yeah, dude, there's so much there to unpack. One thing I'll say is I really resonate with caretaking. I'm here by choice at my dad's. He's on dialysis, potentially scheduled for kidney surgery. And it's a blessing, dude. It's a privilege. Like one of my good friends, Joseph, told me the way that you treat your parent is however you would want your future children to treat you. And,
Mhm.
look, there are people that have told me that I would be in the total right to have zero contact with my family and just be like completely disconnect. So I know that it's hard to embrace change where your family's in the picture. Absolutely. And it's still a blessing. And aside from that, let's just start talking about all the implications of change because being resistant to change is absolutely what gets people stuck. Let me think of I don't know what I want to say. So I'll just
Well, yeah,
yeah.
fighting the change does get people stuck in that stagnant because like I was saying before, like they get comfortable in their routine. And when you get comfortable, you stay stagnant like water. Like what happens to stagnant water? It becomes rotten. It can grow brain eating amoebas, it's not good. Like you want to be in a constant flow, a constant clean stream. And if you're fighting against the current, it's going to make that change feel like an awful experience for you. And it's going to make you depressed. It's going to make you anxious. It's going to make you frustrated. You know what I mean? But if you go with the change and change your perspective on the change, then it'll help you, stay positive minded.
Facts. And I've coached a lot of people, through side hustles, through careers, through executive leadership. And I can tell you, it's almost a fact, whether you're in business or you're not, that the only thing standing, or the biggest thing standing between you and your dream life, or you and your highest and best ideal, day-to-day routine and vision and where you live and who's around you and how much money you have to spend and what's filling your time. The number one reason you don't have that is almost certainly due to resistance to change.
And it's funny because it's inevitable. They say the only thing that's inevitable is death, but no, it's change too. And when you try to fear what's the inevitable and you try to fight what's inevitable, you're not going to have a fun time, you know? Like, I don't fear death because I know it's inevitable. I don't care. Like, I don't want to die, but I'm not going to be scared to die because I know it's inevitable. Same thing with the change. I know it's going to change. Right now, my life right now isn't going to be forever. No, it's going to change from my tomorrow. You know what I mean? But it's inevitable. So don't fight it and don't fear it because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Same thing with dying. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. When and where and how is irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Death is nothing more than a type of change.
It's a form of life because without death, there's no life. And without there's no life, there's no death. Like,
Beyond that,
it's
as an eternal soul, death is literally like going through this doorway into a different room. Like
right.
it's literally, it's not even a different word other than death might be a more appropriate way to describe it. Because if you look
Mhm.
at all these pre-flood societies before the regime that currently oppresses us, these death cult child traffickers that own everything, that programmed us to hate
Yeah.
death and fear death and hate change, they were embracing the transition. They would celebrate. Day of the Dead is a celebration. You're on the other side now. You
Mhm.
get to be my spirit guardian. We get to nurture and continue our relationship without you having to have an ego or be constrained by time. That's cool.
Right.
That's
Right. Or
powerful.
constrained by physicality too, because we are in the physical realm. We're just being in a physical body. And a lot of people are afraid of death and afraid of change because they have so much attachment to this world. But when you start to, practice what we were talking about in the previous episodes, being grateful and doing meditation, you start to let go of this world because this world is temporary. So all the things in this world, it really doesn't matter. Like the little, things that satisfy you now don't matter in 100 years. You know what I mean? So once you let go of the things in this world, like the things you attach to, the less you'll be afraid of death. Because the reason a lot of people are afraid of death because they don't want to lose what they have. But that's attachment to this world.
Absolutely. And since a young age, I've even told people, especially when folks would judge me for things like my life choices or college or this and that, I'd say, look, I don't care. Like, I don't get to bring any of this with me when I die. I don't get to take the money with me when I die. I don't get the
Mhm.
clothes, the cars, the house, none of that shit. I saw my mom die young. It can happen anytime. So
Mm.
you have to, what was I going to say? Hold on one second. Fuck. Oh, shit. Hold on. I got to collect my thoughts. Give me a second. I like a flashback. Change, you know. What was I talking about? Can you just remind me?
Your mom died and
Yeah, death
you
can
were
happen
talking about
anytime.
death can
Uh,
happen at any
attachment, no
time.
attachment. Yeah, no. So what do you get to take with you? The lessons, the experiences, the
And that
relationships. If you talk
you,
about, because if someone passes and you can stay in touch with them on the other side, that means when you go to the other side, you can stay in touch. And that means that when they incarnate or you incarnate, you can do it together or stay in touch after the incarnation. Not every planet is this intense of an amnesia. I promise you, hospital traumas and all these insane circumcision rituals are not practiced in every single possible lifetime that you could have. Even here, the animals in nature. So you come back as an animal. Point is, do not be attached. Only be attached to experiences, lessons, growth, love,
right.
impact.
Be attached to love and growth. You know what I mean? Just that's what you should be attached to because everything can be taken away from you in an instant. Like anything can happen. And if you get too attached to it, you're going to be suffering more. And when you lose it and you're not attached to it, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You know you can get it again. You know what I mean?
That's why millionaires and sometimes billionaires, I hate to say this because a lot of our listeners might dislike these people, but they lose it all and make it all over. And it's because they're so fucking unattached. I'm telling you, it's a level of
Right.
unattachment where you can, if you chase anything, it runs away.
Yeah,
So
so
if
many.
you're, wait, so if you're chasing the same thing, if you're chasing comfort and you're just chasing stagnancy and you're chasing that status quo, it's gonna make change worse and worse. So you have to really change that relationship with change.
Yeah,
fix it.
because like one of these, like it's a simile kind of that I've heard along my 40 years of being on this earth is like change is needed because if you look at a hermit crab, when it gets too big and out of in the shell, it gets uncomfortable, right? So what does it do? It gets out and gets into a bigger shell, right? But a lot of people, when they get in that comfortable shell, they don't get bigger. You know what I mean? So when you're uncomfortable somewhere, that means you need to go and, you know what I mean? You need to go and change into something better because change is inevitable. So you have to, if you're too comfortable in a place you're at, you're going to be stagnant. You need to find some sort of uncomfortability for growth.
Facts. One of the best lessons I ever learned is to be comfortable being uncomfortable because you only grow
Right.
outside of your comfort zone. So if you can flip it and become uncomfortable when you're comfortable and become comfortable when you're uncomfortable, you're in a really good place. And just to tie it back into aging, your friend who's caretaking, I'm here caretaking. Is it possible that aging is mostly accelerated by a resistance to change and that people who can actually maybe change faster than time goes or the sky clock moves is so open to change so fast can actually stay healthier and stay younger?
Theoretically, that happens though, because if you go with the change, you're less stressed, which makes you age less. They know that stress ages you. So when you're going against change all the time and you're stressed and depressed and frustrated, and I just want to keep it this way, but things just keep popping up, and it's just like you got to go with the flow, man, and you have to change your perspective on things no matter what the instance. If you think it's a negative, there's always a positive to it. It's all about, you have to think about the positive and then go with the change. It's all
Yeah,
about changing
and
perspective. Go ahead.
yeah, facts, and that makes me think of some people who actually take pride in disliking change. I've literally seen people be like, "I'm never gonna change.
Yo,
I'm
me
never,"
too.
like it's a good thing, and I'm
And
like,
and I don't like people that are like, ew, you've changed. And I'm like, we're supposed to fucking change. You know what I mean? Ew, you stayed stagnant. That's how I look at them. Because it's like,
yeah,
I know some people in my town that I look at them and they're the same person as they were 25 years ago, doing the same shit, drinking the same beer, doing the same job, I'm like, that's not life, man. Like a whole year ago, my life was different. You know what I mean? That was just a year. If you're gonna, I don't know, man. People just like the comfortability. I just feel like if you're comfortable, then that means that's a problem. You need to find some uncomfortability to go and change so you can
facts.
grow. So you can grow.
And faith plays a huge part of this too, because when you're going through the pain of change, when you're in those periods of your life where it's uncomfortable, it's chaotic, it's uncertain, and you're really trying to rewire that relationship with it, it's not always easy to just be like, this is comfortable. So it really does require that faith, that higher level, like you would say, identifying as the soul, moving into that observer, moving into spirit and just watching and saying, I trust. This fulfills me. I transcend it, but just at least from this perspective to be able to appreciate and know that this is going to turn into something way better than it was before.
Key word you just said is no. Not hope, not, you know what I mean? And know that it's going to be good because a lot of people have doubt and it's hard to get the doubt out of their head because they've been rewired all their life to doubt. Like a lot of people maybe doubted them so much that they doubt themselves, you know, but
Yeah,
it's all about knowing no matter how bad the circumstances, know that it's going to be okay and just handle the change. Because if once you start having those doubts, the universe is going to pick up on it and it's going to give you everything you've wished for. It's going to give you all the bad that you keep thinking about, replaying all the stuff. Like I was talking about my friend earlier. She was talking about, oh, and then I have to go and change my plans around. I'm like, it hasn't even happened yet. You're making up all of these situations in your head and you're worrying about it right now. Just worry. I told her, I was like, focus your energy on the now. Just get the moving out of the way and, focus on moving and getting comfortable into the new spot, and then worry about that stuff later as you're settling in. Don't just don't knock it till you try type thing, It's, I don't know. I just feel if you change the perspective on things, it works, man.
Absolutely, and I think the implications are as deep as anybody could want them to be. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
people that embrace change have so much power because I don't even know what I'm fucking talking about anymore, dude.
You're high as fuck, bro. Jeez. Hey, man, I love that you're high, though. You could be worse. You know what I mean? You could be another person, and I'm not saying you in general. You could be another person that's drunk as hell on here. You know what I mean? I prefer you being high as hell all day. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm high as hell too. I just know how to hide it better.
Yeah, well, it's not even look, it could be because I'm high, but what I experience is I'm a divergent thinker. So it's as I'm thinking, that thought is going into five different other ones, and I'm literally having to choose which one I'm gonna fucking talk about next, and then that one moves. So it's if it happens too fast, then I can't know what to say because it's just like I'm 10 steps ahead of thinking about, you know, change. We finally have some blunt truth callback weed vibes going on in the podcast. That's good.
So
Should I
yeah,
keep this part in?
yeah, fuck it, dude. People gotta relate, man.
Our listeners have to relate.
Yeah, for those that are struggling with change, just try to do a little mental gymnastics and figure out what the positive of it is and actually going with the change for once. See, just for one time, just do it and just see if it's better or worse, you know? And all I want to say is just keep growing. That's it.
Fuck. You send me
God damn,
high.
you
You
stoner.
send me high.
You stoner.
All right.
Leave this part in too, damn it. Leave this part in too.
All right, fine. So physiologically, excitement is identical to anxiety, anticipatory anxiety. What that means is that I could tell your friend, hey, if you're scared about this move, if you're scared about having to caretake for your parents, if you're scared about what might happen, what could happen, that physical somatic sensation that you actually feel, if you get present, like you say, go to the now, breathe and just feel the anxiety. And now just imagine, just get a little speck of trust rolling that maybe instead of paranoid, you be pronoid. And you say, maybe this is actually working out for me and it's going to be something bigger and better and more advantageous and even better than I have imagined. And all of a sudden, that same exact feeling in your body transforms and morphs. And it's like an eagerness and like a happy excitement. And that's the power of perspective. That's literally
Mhm.
how you can change your perspective on change.
Yep. Yeah. And say you're just sitting there and you're going over things in your head, thinking what might happen over and over, right? Even think about it to this day, 9 times out of 10, it never ends up the way you think it does. Ever. Ever. Even all the planned stuff I did with my plants and everything, it never ends up the way I ever think exactly. So you're just worrying about stuff that don't exist pretty much because it never ends up the way that you think about it anyway. Unless it's you got somebody barging down your door and you're going to jail, you're going to jail. But I'm just saying, like anything else other than that, it's like if you play
Now,
things
I will
over and
say
over and
it
over in
usually
your
doesn't
head,
happen in the worst case. It usually doesn't happen in the worst case. You play it out in your head. But like you said earlier, if somebody is strongly and consistently outputting the emotional frequency of a timeline where like bad shit's happening,
you're gonna
it's gonna
keep
be stuff's gonna be happening that's
exactly because you're putting it out into the universe. You keep thinking it. You are a transmitter and a receiver. You're both. So when you replay these thoughts over in your head, every time it's like an episode. Every time it goes in, it throws out an episode to the universe. I want this. So the universe is, well, I can't give you exactly that, but check this out. This is gonna piss you off. You know what I mean? Here, check this out. This ain't exactly what you're thinking, but pretty close. You know what I mean?
facts.
So it's controlling your thoughts into a positive thing. And only way to do that is to change your perspective on it. Everything has a good, everything has a bad. So think of the good and go with the flow. or
And all
just
the good
stay
has bad in it, and all the bad has a little good in it.
exactly. Yep. And
We all
without the
good?
bad, there is no good. And without there is no good, there is no bad. It's correlation.
And the last thing I'll say is when you embrace change, you get to really experience the comfort of when it is the same. You know, it doesn't have to be 3 years or 4 years of your life, but you get into a flow of change, stasis, change, stasis, change, stasis. It's not,
Right.
you have to become fucking Tony Robbins and wake up and be like,
Yo, I
you know,
change every day. No, like you said, it's a wave. It's a wave. Like you just said, it's a wave. Or it's a pendulum. You know what I mean? Change, stasis. Change, stasis. You know? But you
But-
gotta learn how to go swing with the pendulum.
enjoy the comfort and then enjoy the change. You can enjoy them both. It's not that
Right.
hard.
And when you enjoy the change, you enjoy life. Because like I said, I know people who are my age and even more that are just like staying stagnant. That's
Yeah.
not how you live life, man.
Imagine if you woke up every day and all the little changes that were guaranteed to happen fucking lit you up with excitement instead of making you be like, oh, I'm stressed. I gotta control it. I gotta fix it. Dude, that's perspective. Change your whole fucking life.
Exactly. Boom, bow. I love it.
Sweet, dude. Dude, this episode is just back-to-back fucking highlights. We got 2 me being a fucking stoner and then like 20 of just us dropping fire. I'm fucking stoked.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. All right, Steve. Well, I got to get back to my growing, and just a little update. My setup is ridiculous now. Like, I don't know
Dude.
if you want to post a couple pictures at the end of this of my plants, or maybe a little bit of my video.
Facts.
Like, I've been working very hard on this because I've been trying to get other people to help me out because can't rely on one person, you know. So I have to have orchestrated people coming and going to helping me, you know, put this there, cut that there, and, you know, mix my nutrients. It's kind of hard every day. So I want to get, you know, just an idea of what the hell I've been doing. And I got some video I can send, and I got some pictures of my bud, but it's fucking fire. I'm actually super hyped about it because it's 100% me now. You know, it's my recipe, my regimen, my setup. Like usually I was working with people who were growing before, and they always had their little input. And I like input, but I like doing stuff myself, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah.
man. I've been wanting to do an organic gardening episode with you. I haven't asked you yet, but maybe if we don't just focus on cannabis, but if you could just teach people how to just successfully grow anything at home, like whatever the universal parts are, if
Yeah.
that's swingable, I think that'd be fire because everyone's trying to garden, everyone's trying and failing to grow plants at home, and you do this shit organically, and it's literally the fucking best in the world, bro. Like, I will drop links to pictures in this fucking show notes for sure. The listeners can go down and see them, and visit dougsnugs.org to purchase organic cannabis coaching from him, and you will literally double or triple. I don't want to say that, we can't guarantee, but your yields and
I will
quality will
help
both
your
go
shit
up.
out. I'll help
Yeah.
your shit out, and your yield will be better.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So, yeah, we're gonna have an organic gardening episode coming at you one of these days. So, yeah, appreciate y'all. Take care.
See you later.
Thanks for tuning in to The Blunt Truth with Steven and Dougie. And enjoyed the conversation? Join us every Wednesday for more unfiltered discussions. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your support keeps the truth coming. Elevate your journey. Connect with us on social media at blunttruthpodcast.com. Until next time, be kind, keep growing, and remember, knowledge is infinite.